What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, we're going to talk about whether or not you should vote yes or no to a reverse split in the Kraken, aka CRKN. And the obvious question of this day is, when and where would I consider buying the stock? All that and more coming at it. I got my dropbearcoffee.com. Thank you, Tony. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday. The markets are closed. In honor of the late President Jimmy Carter, may God rest his soul. And also, while we're at it, a special prayer for all you that know someone or are affected by the wildfires in California. Truly horrific. Whether it's famous people like Billy Crystal, James Woods, John Goodman, or just average, ordinary folks, it's absolutely unbelievable what's taking place. And I could probably spend an hour as to why that might be. But we'll save that for another day. Today, I want to focus on, but before I get there, please do me another favor. Smash that subscribe button. Whether you give me an up or a down, that's going to depend on you. North Bay Junk Removal. Ignacio is his name. He's got a giant big screen TV of me on his wall. Thank you very much. Back and forth between Vegas and California, but he is in the North Bay, which is approximately 7 or 8 hours north of where most of the fires are taking place. So if you or someone you know is in that area of Central to Northern California, you got a house, a garage, a business, a yard, you name it, and you need some junk removed, especially now, pinned in the top comment, North Bay Junk Removal. Reach out to Ignacio and tell him that moi sent you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, some of this will be a repeat. And as I just said, I will tell you not only how I would vote, if you haven't already, but why and where might I consider, because this guy told you stop buying it at $1, buying some more and perhaps in size. But let's start off with a quick review. Most of us, including myself, made life-changing money back in May. We had been buying the Kraken for about a year, all the way down to as low as 041, where I got a ton of stock. Got our averages under a dime. It ramped, as many of you know, when the meme stocks like FFIE went from a nickel to almost $4 a share. We sold most of our stock on average between 28 and 30 cents. So it was a 3, 4, 5 bagger, life-changing money. I was not too far away in my favorite park in tears, literally, because I could feel how much of a difference this was going to make on ordinary people. And then I made one of the biggest mistakes of my last 30 years, half of it as a broker from 93 to 07. I stuck my hand back in the cookie jar. And we all know what's happened since. Lesson number 1, whenever you have life-changing money in a 5, 10x plus pump, stay away, sell it all and never go back. As a friend of mine used to say, you can't make a souffle rise twice. Once you punch down that dough, it's it. 99 times out of 100, once they collapse and the bubble bursts, it's never going to get anywhere close to its prior peak. So that's a mistake that I will forever own on me. However, in large part because the CEO of the company has no credibility, I'm also the same guy in our private Discord of almost 400 strong that put a blue circle at $1 and said, that's it, we're not buying anymore. Every news release, for the most part, in the last several months, gets a pump and he mows it down with an ELOC dump. So I was smart enough to know, if that's anything I can take credit for, to stop buying it. I had gotten my average with most people down into the 4s. And I said, odds are he's going to mow this motherfucker down like he's done not once, but twice towards a nickel. And here we are at 11 cents and change. So if you followed my advice on the rebuy and stopped at $1, you did yourself a favor. Part of my job is not just to make an extraordinary amount of money. I mean, we're stacking cash to the ceiling. I know when I come to you in these videos and I say we got a 98% win rate, bullshit. You lying motherfucker. I see it in the comments every day. It's true. How long is it going to last? I don't know. I actually feel I'm in a simulation at times. God's fucking with me. This can't be real. You can't be right 150 some odd times and wrong less than 5 times in a year and a half. And yet it's true. In fact, the only stock that we're down more than 5 or 10% is the Kraken. Everything else we currently own is flat or up in this market. But it was a horrendous mistake, and I own up to it. We were smart enough to save people a fortune, however, by not buying any more stock. And there is a scenario where I will stick my hand back in the cookie jar, and I'll share that with you before the end of this video. But let's state the obvious facts. Number one, Doug, the CEO of the company, who used to run Mara early when it was down around 50 cents before the $50 pump, has done an amazing job, A++, of avoiding Chapter 11 a year and a half or so ago because their smart insert window biz has been delayed. We're still waiting for it. Supposed to happen in the first quarter. They're supposed to be profitable in the first half of this year. That's phenomenal. I've said it since day one. He has done an absolutely fantastic job of diversifying into slant wells and lead remediation, etc. And now we have a $30 to $35 million run rate. They see eyesight from one of their last releases of close to $100 million of potential business. It's fucking amazing. And he deserves some credit for that. I also want to say it's also amazing. Boaz, who engaged me in a comment about 2-3 weeks ago, he's still there. Any of those folks that started early, those restricted units they got, they're way down. They've lost 95 or 99% of their money too. He's still there and he's still optimistic. And they just had an interesting release of an $10 million deal that he's behind. So they're obviously doing something right with the stock in the shitter down 99.9%, down 90%, in fact, in the last few months alone by hanging on to the entire team and building a very robust pipeline with the possibility of being profitable. However, F motherfucking minus on protecting and enhancing shareholder value. Other than David over at Mullen, who's going on his 7th reverse split. This is one of the biggest abuses of ELOC power I've ever seen. Equity line of credit. Every fucking news release, for the most part, you get the pre or post market 20, 30, 40%. Boom, mowed right down, usually same or next day. That's not naked sells. That's not retail panic. That's called massive motherfucking dilution. Bending your ass over this desk all the way in, up. Don't forget that last, without any lube whatsoever. Your asshole's been on fire for months. And I don't blame those of you that want to vote thumbs down on the reverse split and send their motherfucking ass like NASDAQ wants to the pink sheets. I don't blame you. And I will tell you exactly what I would do, what Doug should do, and where I would buy it by the end of this video. I need another drink of this bloody terrific coffee, mate. But Doug, you have no credibility because you have absolutely railroaded your shareholder base. I don't know if it's because you think in your own mind, hey, they made a lot of money in May, so everybody's kind of about the same. They made 500%. They gave 95% back or thereabouts. Nobody's really lost anything. Is that how you justify episodes or gimmicks? Like when you turned off the ELOC a month or 2 ago and you said you were well capitalized and business was improving, and it is, only to turn the motherfucker back on again. And I'm going to give you my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, as to what happened. If you remember, not only in the fine print did it say they could turn it back on at any time, but for about a week to 10 days after that announcement, it was just laying there. 88 to 95 cents, just under $1 from where I said don't buy anymore. A week to 10 days go by, and it's my opinion, something along the lines of Liquius, their underwriter, who has the $100 million ELOC, and Doug had a conversation. Well, that didn't work. We didn't get back over $1 to maintain NASDAQ compliance by saying we were suspending the ELOC, so we got a choice. We can maintain the suspension and sit with just a couple $1 million of cash, or we can turn the motherfucker back on without telling anybody, come out with 3 or 4 press releases that result in giant pumps and boom, right back down, steadily going all the way motherfucking down to 11.5 cents or thereabouts, another all-time low. And then you come out with an airy-fairy shareholder letter, similar to the ones you used to release 2 years ago when you got sued not once but twice. And most, if not all of what you said was true, but I got a kick out of making light as far as I'm concerned. We did a little bit of financing. Right. Just a little bit. Yeah, we've got record amounts of cash, just a little bit of financing. No, you did a lot of motherfucking dilution. You have wrecked thousands of people all over the world, some of which cannot afford to be down 95%, if not more. So I understand the rage of people that say, fuck no, cut this guy off, send his ass, like NASDAQ apparently wants to the pink sheets. We don't want any more dilution. We don't want any more reverse splits. We've already lost most, if not all, of our money. We're willing to roll the dice on the pink sheets with whatever we have left. I do not blame those folks one motherfucking bit, because you have abused the right, or the privilege, I should say, of an ELOC. I still, for the life of me, I can't understand why you went from 50 million with the Keystone Cops to 100 million. That immediately tells the shareholder base, at least the ones that have something up here, and that's not many, there's $100 million of dilution overhanging the stock. And because this company has a history of being non-transparent, anytime you reach out to Jason in IRR, pretty much a decent guy, he says, well, I can't tell you how many shares are out. Bullshit. Companies do it all the time. They tell you in between 10 Qs what the outstanding share count is. The ones that don't, as in this case, are playing games. They don't want you to know that they're actually diluting into every news release. They don't want you to know that when it's up 50% and boom, it's down almost the same or next day. It's them. It's not the naked sells, because the truth is, Doug, if it really was the Citadels, the Susquehannas, the Hindenburgs, etc., that were naked selling your stock into oblivion, you would have said so by now. And oh, by the way, even though you and I have not spoken or exchanged emails in approximately 6 months since you told me, I want you out of the stock, do it, because I was such a pain in the ass, didn't you also tell me in one of those conversations that you had a contact at NASDAQ, I won't name his name, that specifically told you it wasn't the naked sells that were responsible? Because I kept saying that. But you told me, he said, no, it's minimal at best. And we now know in hindsight, the reason why we're going on a third reverse split in the last 3 years is because you have issued up to, close if not, 1 billion shares of stock since going public. In 2021, if you pull up the long-term chart, ladies and gentlemen, it was 50,000 reverse split adjusted. After a 1 for 60 and most recently 1 for 150, and God knows what this one in the first half of next year, or I should say this year, is going to be. So if you bought one share, reverse split adjusted at $50,000, it's worth $0.12. So obvious question now is, what do we do? We got a stock at, let's call it a dime. We got a company that's on their way to doing, assuming NASDAQ allows it, their third reverse split in 3 years. Minus 99%. Anybody that was a buy and hold has lost all their money for the most part. Traders that got in and out at times or made the right decision to say, I'm not buying another fucking share at $1. It's not just how much money you make, it's how much money you save. So I helped save those of you that were listening, and I said it repeatedly on this channel, 90% or close to it? And it might make sense real soon to buy some more. I'll cover that in a minute. But we're wrestling with, what do we do? Well, let's cover the no vote first. No sends them, assuming it passed, to the pink sheets. And this is where the honesty really comes into play. It's a fact, and you're welcome to Google it. 90% or thereabouts companies that get delisted and pushed from NASDAQ to the OTC, they're out of business within a few years. Some names that made it, Apple, believe it or not, 40, 50 years ago, it was pushed to the pink sheets. Also did a reverse split. GE and Citigroup recently in the last 10 or 15 years did a reverse split post the Great Recession. It does happen where you can do a reverse split and or go 10% of the time to the OTCs and come back solid and strong. And some, very few, stay there and thrive. But most, 90%, it's a death sentence. So your ego, and I understand, might be just fucking so angry. Fuck him. Send him to the pink sheets. I'm willing to lose whatever I got left. I understand that. But if we're ever to have a chance to get out of the fucking ditch and recoup 10, 20, 30, maybe even half of our money, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, the guy that's got a 98% plus win rate, I suggest you vote yes. Ooh, yeah, give them to me. Give them to me. But it comes with caveats. I'm playing the percentages. If I send them with a no vote to the OTC, there's a 90% chance it's over. I am playing the percentages that if we say yes, because the ones that are really going to determine this vote on Tuesday's final count are the ones that we're buying in the fourth quarter from, let's say, 50 cents all the way down to the December 16 record date when it was 18 and a half. Those like myself that were buying 6 months ago or even longer because of the massive reverse and huge amounts of 20 to 30x dilution, our vote means almost nothing. The people that are going to determine whether this passes or not on Tuesday are the ones that have been buying from a half a buck or thereabouts all the way down to the December 16 cutoff of 18 cents. Anybody buying after that, including right now, has no say on whether this passes or not. But the reason why, begrudgingly, and I have caveats, so don't go anywhere, that I would vote yes is because we stand a better chance, credibility-wise, investment banking-wise. I could go on in another hour video of making money or recouping some of our loss by staying on NASDAQ. However, Doug, you motherfucker, you must do one of two things. You must publicly come out and put a nail in the coffin of the ELOC. Because I guarantee we're probably, ladies and gentlemen, headed towards a nickel between the official announcement of the reverse split and now. It's already happened twice. It's in the process, obviously, of happening again. But if Doug, in the next few weeks, after he gets a clarity on an up or a down, let's say it passes, barely, but it passes, there's a reverse split coming in March. And I'm just throwing that out there. Doug, you should come out, if I was running this company, at a minimum and say two things. Number one, we have a relationship with Liquius. It's a $100 million ELOC. We drew down an exact motherfucking amount. Give us the exact share count. We are not going to renew this ELOC. In the future, we are going to do private placements or direct offerings, and we've already got an investment banker. I believe it was Alliance Global that you did a $1.5 or $2 million, don't quote me on the exact amount, ATM or at the market offering. From now on, get an investment banker. There's no fucking excuse. You're doing $30 or $40 million, supposedly going to be profitable this year in the first half. You know, a Think Equity, an Alliance Global, an H.C. Wainwright, there's a million, Jeffries even, there's a million small cap type investment bankers with your kind of revenue run rate and profitability that would give you or be able to raise 10, 20, $30 million. So at a minimum, number one, you got to come out and say, no more ELOC. It's going to end on this date. It's going to end on this much that we've drawn on and this many shares outstanding. And most importantly, in closing, and this assumes that we get a yes and they maintain status on NASDAQ. Doug, you must put skin in the game. I'm not going to share emails between you and Jason and myself or phone calls, but let's get real. You motherfucking said on numerous occasions, it's my intention, a rather clever word, to buy stock. Well, you didn't. Is that a lie, a mistruth, or are you about to do that now? Because it could be one of the smartest things you'd ever do, Doug. Think about it. The vote passes, maybe in no small part because of me telling people to vote yes. Well, you should have done this video earlier. I promised I'd never do another one. It's a miracle I'm here today, but I'm doing it because a lot of people ask me. But Doug, let's assume that it passes barely on Tuesday. You've got two things to do. You need to craft wording on a release that says you're done with an ELOC. This is the number of shares. This is how much we've drawn down. In the future, it's private placements and direct offerings, most likely with this bank, whether it's Liquius, Alliance, or somebody else. And then, Doug, when you announce the actual record date or the day of the reverse split, let's assume it's March 1st. And it gets mowed down because retail panics. They say, fuck this guy. I've already lost most of my money. I'm out. And let's say, for argument's sake, it's a nickel. You get everybody on the phone or in person. And you say, I need each and every one of you to come up with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. And we're going to go in and buy 30% of the outstanding shares. And we can do it now at a nickel, 6 cents, 7, wherever it is. And then you call NASDAQ after you've done that and you halt the motherfucking stock. And you say that the team and myself finally came forward because of a disgustingly oversold stock, in large part because of you and your fucking massive dilution. And we're putting skin in the game. In fact, we just made a filing where we bought 35% or thereabouts of the outstanding shares, average price 6.5 cents. And then the reverse happens. And you come out once and again and you say, look, we own a third of this company or thereabouts. We are now profitable on our way to a $100 million run rate in the next 2 years. And because of that, we don't see the need to have an $100 million equity line of credit or anything of the sort. We're going to have private placements and direct offerings with this bank. And here's what we think we can do this year, next year, and the year after, both in terms of top and bottom line. So if I see this stock, ladies and gentlemen, 8, 7, 6, and I can read the tea leaves, and I can get a sense that I think they're about to do something, or maybe we get evidence that they are, yeah, I would be okay for the first time since saying no at $1 of buying some down around a nickel. And until next time, always remember that I love you. And whether you own the stock recently, way in the past, or right now, I sincerely wish you the very best of luck.